folks, and welcome to another Friday Night Spotlight brought to you by 911 Air Repair, your local air conditioning experts specializing in maintenance, repair, and new installations. Well, we are kind of continuing this trend here between Maricopa and Casa Grande schools. Last week we had CG Union and Maricopa. This week we're going to drop down a level to the 4A conference, and we have Vista Grande and Desert Sunrise going at it on Friday night. And David, you're the only one who's gotten a chance to see Desert Sunrise. You just saw them last week. What are you seeing from this program that is in their first year as a varsity team?
Well, I'll tell you what, they look like a team that's in their first year of playing in AAA football, and that's no credit to them or no knock to them at all. You know, this team is definitely building for the future and trying to set the foundation for this program, and they have some pieces there. I mean, they're not getting blown out per se by a lot of teams. They're able to compete relatively well. It's just about finding the right guys that are able to kind of fit the roles that they want with this coaching staff. So, this is going to be a tough game for Desert Sunrise, though, because, Vista Grande looks better than they ever have before. Undefeated right now, looks really solid. A guy that I do want to point out for Desert Sunrise, though, is defensive player Donovan Wilson. He's a junior for them. He can be and has the potential to be an impact player for this team. He is really solid on the line. Mostly plays defensive lineman, but can back up and kind of be in the passing game as well. So he's definitely someone to look out for. He played really well against Flagstaff, and that was actually his first game of the season. He missed the first two games for Desert Sunrise, was back this week, and he looked really solid for them. So he's going to be someone that Vista Grande is going to have to look out for going forward. But at the end of the day, Vista Grande is just clicking on all cylinders right now. Offensively, defensively, they have it all. The three guys that I want to point out are just the QB, running back, and wide receiver trio that they have. Brendan Hunt at quarterback. He's thrown for 625 yards, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the year so far, so he's looked really solid passing the ball. Also is second in rushing for this team. First in rushing is Fernando Moya, 508 yards. He's averaging 9.2 yards per carry, so that's a really good workload for him. Also has 6 TDs on the year, and then you got Darnell Castro, who's kind of been the main guy for Brendan Hunt in the passing game. 387 yards, 4 touchdowns. So this team is solid. This team is stacked, and they're going to look that way against Desert Sunrise. I'm taking Vista Grande to win in this one. I'm just hoping Desert Sunrise can maybe just put on a little bit of a good performance and continue to kind of find those building blocks for the future.
I feel like we really have to commend Desert Sunrise and its coaching staff for what it's been able to do so far through 3 games. One of their games got postponed for their bye week because of a storm. But other than that, besides Friday's game against Flagstaff, they've been able to score some points, and that's saying a lot for being a first-year team in the 4A conference. We have another Pinal County team in ALA Anthem South. That's also a first-year team down in the 2A conference, and they've struggled to just put points up. And then also got to mention Sequoia Pathway, one of our more established teams. They've struggled completely, a new coaching staff and everything, so really got to credit Desert Sunrise for what they're being able to do right now. Talking about Vista Grande, David mentioned it. They're big three with all these guys. Got to highlight Fernando Moya, just a junior, and I have been waiting for this guy to have this type of season. First year, he was just a freshman. He was just 13, 14 years old. He was a real baby his freshman year, but, he had a lot of potential, and I was just waiting for that moment to happen. I thought it might be last year, but he got injured in that first game against Marcos Deniza, and just that injury lingered all season long. So I'm really excited and happy to see what he's been able to do already, and we're basically at the half mark of the season, so it's going to be interesting to see how he does once the competition comes up a level and everything. And then last week I touched on it a little bit. I talked about Vista Grande's defense, and we got to highlight them again this week. Last week against Prescott, that was the first points this Vista Grande defense allowed. They allowed 14, although the score says 19. One was a fumble recovery for Prescott. However, guys like Jason Villegas, I mentioned him last week, Angel Chaidas, and Joey Alderetti, they have been doing a phenomenal job just growing this team as a whole. They've really improved from where they were, as sophomores and freshmen, and now it's just really exciting to see everything come to fruition, and I'm just excited to see where this team goes the rest of the season. It's been since 2015, the one and only playoff appearance that Vista Grande has had. Could this be the year that they make it back? I think it will be. Transitioning over to our other games to watch. David, what do you have your eye on?
I am looking out at Santan Valley over there with Ailey Ironwood going up against Benjamin Franklin. Ailey Ironwood's kind of quietly had a pretty decent year so far, especially with the turnaround that they've had this year with the new coach and Lauren Dawson. They're 3-2 right now, and they're just what they lack in the passing game, they make up for in the running game. Aiden Williams is one of the best running backs we have. Again, one of those quiet guys that not a lot of people talk about, but Aiden Williams definitely deserves a lot of praise. 590 yards on the year so far, 6 touchdowns, and the big thing that's helping the Warriors win and have that their 3-2 winning record is the defense. They have 11 team sacks right now. They've done a really good job of getting to the quarterback and not letting opposing offenses get comfortable. Marcus Dorsey for the Warriors on defense is a stud. He's got 48 total tackles, which leads the team. He's got a sack, 2 interceptions. He is great. Both, he's able to rush the quarterback, but also defend some wide receivers as well. So he's definitely a guy that Benjamin Franklin's going to have to look out for. And my take on this game is basically if the defense can do what they've been doing all year and the offense is just good enough to make it happen, Ailey Ironwood could get a win in this one, and I think they will. I really like this team so far. I think they still have a little bit more tests that they have to face throughout the later in the year, but this should be a game that they can win, and I think they will.
All right, and my game to watch is our big rivalry game. It is Florence and Coolidge. And for Florence, we've talked about them a lot so far this season. We've talked about Josh Jackson and Logan Stetson, but other guys I want to highlight that are really stepping up their game, helping contribute on offense, and just kind of spread the ball around are Malik Smith, Joseph Carroll, and Kanan Neal. So far, these guys have combined for 8 touchdowns and a lot of rushing yards, just to put it simply. And then for Coolidge, it's been difficult to kind of pinpoint where this Coolidge team is at. I feel like one week, they're on the right track, they're moving forward, and then the next week it's like they take 2 steps back. Last week they had a 1-point loss to ALA Ironwood. They lost 7-6, and I mentioned it early on. The bright spot continues to be Javonte Wall for them, and there's only so much one guy can do when you're running the ball. He needs some help. Ball security has been an issue. Penalties have been a bit of an issue. Just the biggest part is lack of consistency. I see Florence coming away with the win in this one just easily, just because, like I mentioned, there's a lack of consistency when it comes to the Coolidge offense. Defensively, though, however, they've done a solid job. Besides that season opener against Sabino, they haven't allowed more than 20 points, but it all comes down to offense. You got to score more points than the other team, and in order to do that, you need your offense to be working. Real quickly, here are our picks for this week. David, is there anything else you want to add overall?
Yeah, I just want to point out, we're getting close to the halfway point of the season so far, so now is really the time where we're going to be able to see who are our real contenders here, and I think we definitely have a good handful of them. Vista Grande, like you talked about, I think Santa Cruz down in 2A is doing a really solid job. There's a lot of teams out there looking for playoff spots that could definitely, we could see some postseason action, and we're excited to see it. We got a lot of good teams out there, and they just got to keep it up throughout the rest of the year.
That does it for this episode. As always, be sure to tune into Pinal Central for all of your local sports coverage.